We're Davis reporting for us. Well, let's talk to Jonathan Sacerdoti, who's Director of Public Affairs at the Zionist Federation. That campaigns on behalf of Israel, and he's here in the studio now. Evening to you.
Evening.
Do you think these talks can be successful?
Yes, I do think these talks can be successful. The Zionist Federation, as the government of Israel, is very optimistic about the talks. There's no denying that it's a very complicated issue and that there's a lot to negotiate and to discuss. But Israel has agreed to and called for these negotiations since the formation of this current government, with no preconditions on either side. And as such, it's a difficult goal, but one that Israel is very optimistic about.
What would the Israeli government of Mr. Netanyahu have to concede for these talks to be successful, do you think? What would you have to give away?
I think if I could tell you that right now, I probably wouldn't be sitting here.
All right, let me ask you another question. What would you be prepared to give away?
I think that it's very important that both sides are committed enough to this process that they're willing to make concessions that will doubtless hurt somewhat certain parts of their constituent members. And it's important that the talks are going ahead now. This shows a commitment on both sides. It's time that the commitments shown by Israel in its gestures, such as the 10-month suspension of building settlements in the West Bank area, such as the removal of roadblocks, despite what we saw yesterday with the killing of 4 Israelis, including a pregnant woman. These are things that are very difficult for the Israeli population to accept, but they're things that Israel has done to build confidence, and we need to see the Palestinian Authority stand up to the mark and do the same, and make similar actions and concessions that will show their commitment to this, and ultimately both sides can achieve a brighter future for the whole region. But
Mr. Netanyahu he's a right-wing prime minister. He's not very likely to give much ground, is he? I mean, you know, we've been here so many times before with many previous American presidents trying to crack the whole Middle East problem, trying to get the two sides together, trying to get a lasting settlement, and it's never really happened.
I think, on the contrary, it's historically a fact that right-wing, so-called right-wing prime ministers of Israel have managed to achieve quite a lot in terms of peace with the neighbours. And
Benjamin
Netanyahu, let's keep on subject, otherwise this could take a while.
Okay.
But Netanyahu, for example, right from the start of this term of government, has called for negotiations with the Palestinians. He's said that he would fully recognise a two-state solution for the two peoples. These aren't things that we should forget easily, and they're things that he's now showing he means by openly going to negotiate with the Palestinians in America, despite things like the killing of 4 innocent Israelis yesterday. These things can't be allowed to derail the peace talks, because as a survey even showed, 2/3 of the Palestinian people, a survey revealed on Monday, support direct peace negotiations or indirect peace negotiations, want peace, as does the majority of the Israeli population.
But you say that, but I mean, there are those who will say that Israel goes through the motions of talking peace. It turns up to these peace talks every so often, but ultimately it's quite happy with the way things are, because the Palestinians are not that much of a threat.
I don't think anybody could claim that the Israelis are happy with the attacks that are put upon them by the Palestinians, whether it's from the West Bank or from Gaza. The killing of 4 innocents yesterday, the 10,000 rockets that have been launched from Gaza after complete withdrawal from the area on Israel's part. These things aren't things that people in Israel are happy with, but it's a fact that Mr. Netanyahu has to defend the 3 principles that any peace agreement has to be based on. One is security, one is a recognition of the state of Israel as a national homeland for the Jewish people, and the third is a complete end to the conflict. Without those 3 things, there can't be peace. So, of course, Mr. Netanyahu must stand his ground on those sorts of issues, but when it comes to compromises which might be necessary in order to reach that goal and a brighter future for the region, then I believe that Mr. Netanyahu is ready and has proven that he's ready to stand up to that and to deliver. It's a question of whether or not he can be met with a serious partner for peace on the other side, and we all hope so.
All right, well, optimistic. Jonathan Sacerdoti from the Zionist Federation, many thanks indeed for coming in.
Thank you.
We'll have a news summary for you in just a few minutes. First, though, let's join John Hammond for the weather. Hi, John.